You're listening to the Jōrni Podcast. Why do some people stay vibrant into old age while others decline much earlier? In today's episode, we explore a crucial piece of our longevity. Hi, I'm Petra Brunbauer, and with decades of experience with sadness, pain, anxiety, and stress, I finally figured out how to leave all that behind. And this podcast shows you how to break free permanently so you can reclaim your sanity and find the self-esteem and energy to go after the life you desire. With real talk about mental health, holistic healing, and the tough journey of coming out the other end. This is the Jōrni Podcast. Welcome to today's episode. Aging does not have to mean declining. Some people spend their 80s doing what most do in their 30s, and the difference often comes down to whether our cells have what they need to handle daily stress and damage. Dr. Nayan Patel is a sought-after pharmacist, wellness expert, and thought leader in his industry. He has been working with physicians since 1999 to custom develop medication for their clients and design a patient-specific drug and nutrition regimen. He has been the pharmacist of choice to celebrities, CEOs, and physicians themselves. He recently published his first comprehensive book, The Glutathione Revolution: Fight Disease, Slow Aging, and Increase Energy. After 11 years of clinical research on the master antioxidant, glutathione, Dr. Patel and his team developed a patented technology to deliver glutathione topically, changing the game on how best to absorb GSH systemically. From this technology, he additionally developed the Oro GSH antioxidant delivery system to create a skincare line to deliver antioxidants more efficiently and effectively than ever before at potent concentrations. Here is my interview with Dr. Nayan Patel. Hi, Nayan. It's so great to have you on the podcast one more time. And I've been looking forward to getting to chat with you again because I feel that last time we actually didn't get to touch on one very important topic that you are very well known for. So today we will be diving into glutathione, an amazing topic and never been talked about before on this podcast. So welcome one more time to the podcast.
Thanks for having me here again. I hope you got enough for the first time. Now the second time is going to be even more juicier. So hopefully we can entertain your audience even more today.
Amazing. I look forward to it. In the first episode already gave us so many materials to work with for our listeners to bring into their lives. So I can't wait for today. And for starters, do you want to take a few minutes and just remind our listeners again what it is that you do so they can remember who you are and what it is that you're working on?
Absolutely. By trade and by education, I'm a pharmacist. Quickly, very early on, I learned that giving prescription is like basically tying you down for the rest of your life on a subscription-based model. Get your prescription filled every month, and we will manage your problems for the rest of your life. We will not get rid of the problems. So that was not a deal for me and my audience and my patients. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do something different. I'm going to figure out other ways, other modalities that I can help my patients achieve better outcomes. So delved into compounding, making medications, customized medications. That still would not solve the problems to the point because they're still stuck on that medication for the rest of their lives because we're dealing with hormones and an endocrine system, which unfortunately that requires maintenance, doesn't require just a treatment option. And so anyways, then moved into some sort of longevity type medicine. And I had so many high-end clienteles that all the money's in the world, but literally no avenue for them to live longer and enjoy the money of the wealth they have accumulated. And so I was given the task of trying to find that ultimate solution using glutathione as one of the molecule to help them with the longevity. And it's been out for 140 plus years. I said, what am I going to find differently that all the smart people before me has never figured it out yet? And so I said, okay, fine. I'll do this as a side project. I'll keep on doing my daytime job because that pays the bills. And then I'll work on this one. And long story short, we are here today because I have dove into this subject in such a deep manner that I literally became known as the glutathione guy for whatever it means. I have no idea, but it's just I have developed technology that I can deliver small peptides to your body in a manner that the body can use it up and use that as a building block. And so I said, wow, this is incredible. So anyhow, we're here today because of my time and research that I have spent over the last 20 plus years in trying to figure out how I can introduce different sort of small peptides to the human body.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And I feel that being the glutathione guy, that's got to mean something, because if that's been around for such a long time and you have found something special about that, I feel that we definitely need to talk about that. Now, for our listeners who might have no idea what glutathione is or what a peptide is, can you share a little bit about what a peptide is or does, and also why this is important to the human body? Why do we need peptides?
Absolutely. So let me just break it down to the simplest form. We eat food every single day. There's two things that food does for us, right? Maybe more than two things, but first of all, it gives you energy, gives you the sugar and the energy to basically do your daily functions. And the proteins that you eat are broken down into various amino acids, and amino acids helps actually build your body. Amino acids combines together. A small chain of amino acids is called peptides, and large chain of amino acids becomes a protein, right? And so a protein is like insulin and growth hormones and all your hypothalamic and pituitary hormones are all basically some sort of a peptide that is a big, large molecule inside your body. But the small fragments, the itty bitty ones, there are the two, three, four amino acid chains, peptides, are basically very popular. And the most popular peptide today in the world is the GLP ones for your weight loss. People know about that weight loss drug that they inject one and lose the pounds just comes off. And the GLP is something that is produced in your stomach where you eat food. It sends a signal to your brain that, hey, stop eating now. I got enough food already in my belly. And then if the message does not get loud and clear to the brain, guess what? You need to keep on eating more food. And so anyways, the researchers figured out that, hey, if I just give the shot, people will stop eating. Anyway, so that's what peptide is. And glutathione is actually the most abundant peptide produced in human body. It's the most. And when you have the most abundant in you, like, for example, water on this earth is the most abundant substance available, period. It's more than land. We have more than land, we have water. Right. So water is the lifeline, right? You cannot eat dirt, but you have to drink water every single day. And so body, when this produces glutathione in such an abundance, there has to be some functions for it. And 140 years we have discovered this thing. Nobody's figured out how to get inside your body from outside sources. And so there's a quest on trying to identify different modalities, different ways to enhance those levels, improve those levels, make it available to the human body, because that alone, I think we can assume that's going to take us to the next level in terms of the race of the human longevity.
And do we know what we're using the glutathione for in the human body?
Oh, sure. It only does two things that we have known for at this point, but those two things are the most important part. So we breathe oxygen every single second. Oxygen is oxidation. Oxidation is not bad for you. It's bad for you if you cannot neutralize the excess oxygen that you breathe in. What happens is that you breathe oxygen, all the excess oxygen has to be neutralized. Otherwise, they become what we call as free radicals. And the free radicals are actually damaging your whole body. It's like rusting your nails if you live outside in the open porch, right? Because the dew and the water gets to it, and then it just starts rusting. And once it starts rusting, the whole thing will disintegrate, right? Eventually. And so that's what happens to the body from inside out. It's rusting from inside out all the time. So that's oxygen-free radicals. There are also something called nitrogen-free radicals, because the foods we eat produces nitrogen gas. The nitrogen gas is actually good for you to reduce your blood pressure, increase your ATP and your energy, and just makes your body function so much efficient. But the excess of nitrogen can also cause nitrogen-free radicals. And those free radicals, if they're not quenched or they're not neutralized, they can literally destroy your body from inside out. So that's one function. It's a most powerful antioxidant is what we call them. The second part, which is not so well known for in the medical community, is because it never existed until now, is that it aids the liver in conjugation and detoxification of all the chemicals and metals that we consume. Because keep in mind, by the time you wake up and leave your house in the next hour and a half or so, you're exposing your body to at least 70 different chemicals. These chemicals have to be neutralized, process, and get rid of it from your body every single day. Now, the liver does a job for you, but the liver needs help from glutathione to basically conjugate them and make it available for it to be released from the body. And so two main functions. And without those two things, imagine there is no trash can pickup collection in your neighborhood for the next 30 days or 60 days or, God forbid, 1 year. What's going to happen? The whole thing is chaos. There's trash everywhere. And once you have trash everywhere, it's smelly, it's stinky, then infection kicks in, so all kinds of things happens. That's physical thing happening, right? The body's the same way. The body needs to be clean at all times, needs to remove the trash every single day. We go to the bathroom every day. There's a reason for that because we got to empty every single thing out. So even though it's a small thing that the glutathione does for us, it's the most profound thing that it can do for us.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I think especially maybe in today's world where we're exposed to a lot of toxins in our cleaning materials, our beauty products. As you said, before we leave the house, we're already bombarded, never mind what's in our water and in our food nowadays. So I think a very essential thing that we need in our body to be able to keep cleaning and, as you said, keep taking that trash out and supporting the liver. Is there a specific reason why the glutathione levels might decrease in someone's body? It obviously gets produced. You said it is the most produced one in the body, but is there a reason that the levels would drop or that we don't have enough? Or why do we have to keep replenishing this and adding it to our body?
Absolutely. So before I answer the question, I'll just go about the toxins first, because the word toxin has been overused because today everything is toxic, right? Oh, this is not supposed to be in the humans, and yes and no, right? For example, banana is not produced in humans, but without the banana, you don't get the magnesium, the potassiums, and the other nutrients that your body needs to survive on. But if you eat banana every single day, or maybe 2 or 3 every single day, yes, it can become toxic to you too. So everything could be toxic. Everything could be easy to digest and easy to use up. So moderation is what we're talking about right now. And so I just want people don't get all so gung-ho about, I want to have a very clean living. It's a necessity. I do it. I practice myself. But I just want to make sure that it's not something that the word toxic chemicals or toxicity has been overused. So just be cautious about every single thing. All right. So the question you asked me earlier said, does it get replenished? Why do we have to replenish it at all? Our body has the capacity to produce the glutathione for the rest of our lives. It does, right? What does it need to make it? I don't know. When people talk about vitamins, they talk about, oh, I like to stack my vitamins. I take this, and the next thing they know, they're taking 30 pills to do one thing. Because why? Because, for example, to make glutathione, you need 3 amino acids, glycine, glutamine, cysteine. You need 2 molecules of ATP, which is the energy source for the mitochondria. You need 2 enzymes to basically make the conjugation happening for the 3 amino acids. And you need 1 molecule of NAD to make sure that electron transfer is happening. And then a selenium as a catalyst to make the reaction faster. Now, if your body cannot produce glutathione, you can take 3 amino acids, you can take 2 ATPs, you can take the enzymes, you can take the selenium, you can take the NAD, nasal sprays or the shots or whatever. So you have 6 supplements to produce 1 glutathione, right? If I can give you glutathione, that would be great. But the issue is that if any one of them is missing in your life, the production goes down. The production goes down. And so my thing is that as much as clean we want to live, there's something maybe missing over time. Sometimes everything is fine, but your needs have increased. For example, the number one toxic chemical that we consume knowingly that is toxic to the human body is alcohol. Alcohol is self-inflicted because alcohol is a solvent in chemistry, and solvents are really toxic. So a drink of alcohol can deplete the glutathione levels to zero for the next 3 to 4 hours. To zero, right? Worse than alcohol is smoke inhalation. But well, cigarette smoking has been down for a while, but even vaping is the same thing. Secondary smoke, fires. I live in California and we have fires every summer, and that air pollution is just absolutely atrocious. Then people light up candles and gas stoves in the house and they lit up fires. This is the holiday seasons is always the worst for everybody because there's so much candles and so much fires going on in the house. All the secreted products of combustion that your body's inhaling and gets stuck into your lungs, right? And so the body has to literally have to detoxify all this all the time. And so as we age, what happens is the body can keep up with this demand, but our demand never decreases, ever. So around the age of 30 is what we have noticed that for the very first time, the body's ability to produce glutathione is not changed, but the need for glutathione has actually surpassed the body's capacity. So there's actually a gap. This gap is not big enough to cause any problems. You cannot detect it in a blood test or a urine test or a scan or nothing like that. But the gap eventually starts getting bigger and bigger. And the gap is what we call as oxidative stress. And if you just put your favorite search engine or your AI robot, what disease are linked to oxidative stress, and you're going to get a list of each and every disease in the world. And that how powerful the need for glutathione is for us, because it literally can affect each and every diseases that you're known to mankind, because they all start from this oxidative stress. Now, the question you may ask me is that, hey, what if there's a kid who has spectrum disorder, right? Autism, Asperger's, and things like that? Of course, they have detox pathways already shunted at birth. And within a year or two, now they're completely digressing and say, oh my God, I can't function. And so replacing glutathione on those patients can have a profound impact on their health and well-being. Their eye contact becomes better, they're thinking better, they're singing, and all those things can happen. That's if the cause is because of detoxification pathways. And so you can see a subtle increase and subtle change in the body like immediately. And so that's how I always think. I said, hey, when I'm 35 or 45, I'm not getting autistic, but it's the same kind of issues. And now my body's full of toxic chemicals that your body needs to detoxify. And if the changes have happened already because of not able to clear all these toxic chemicals outside your body, sometimes those changes becomes irreversible. That's what we call them diseases. Before you get diagnosed with any disease, if I can somehow get rid of this problem ahead of time before getting any diseases, there's a good potential that you may never get disease again. And if that happens, oh my God, you only die because, besides accidents, you only die because the body could not keep up with your demand, and you have some sort of disease that doesn't allow you to live any longer. And so my goal is that, hey, as long as I can live, I want to be disease-free as much as possible, because disease-free person can live a long time. Once you get a disease, then there's a time clock kicking, right? If you have cancer, maybe you have 20, 30 years. If you have this disease, maybe you have 10 years or less. Sometimes you have a really severe aggressive cancer, maybe you have 6 months to live. But there's a timer that starts kicking. The time is ticking now, right? And so I don't want time to start ever. That means I want to be disease-free all the time. Glutathione can help you get there if you just maintain those levels early on in your life, so that way you can have a good life without having to worry about those kinds of issues.
That sounds like something that we can all benefit from if we start actually integrating that into our lives. Now, I'm getting the sense that it's probably not as simple as just going to the health food store and picking up a supplement. Is there more to that in how those supplements are created or how our body can actually absorb them? I feel like there's a major point there that we haven't gotten to, is people can't just go and buy this and eat it and it'll all have the same effect. So what comes together there and how we can actually supplement these levels?
Absolutely. So I'll talk about supplements first, but then I'll tell you how can you do this without supplements in the first place? Because that to me is more important, because anybody can probably buy their way out of this mess. But if I can show you solutions where you don't have to use any money to do that, it will be even better. So supplements, is something that, yes, the number one supplement sold in the world is some sort of antioxidant, because glutathione is a peptide. Peptide is something that your body has to produce internally. You cannot take peptides from outside sources and get it incorporated into the human genome. For example, if you're diabetic, if you need insulin, yes, you get insulin shots, but you have to take the shots every single day. It doesn't get part of your human body. It becomes very difficult to produce these products inside your body. So the body has to make it itself. So what it does is that for the glutathione, it takes amino acids and make the products and use that to make its own glutathione. The supplements, there are thousands of supplements that sell that claim to be glutathione, but the body breaks it down into amino acids, absorbs amino acids, and try to make glutathione out of it. FDA has actually approved one product, which is one of the amino acids out of the three, to be taken that as a medicine and allowing the body to make its own glutathione. So there's a commercial product available in the hospitals right now that people can buy and improve the glutathione levels. But today we are finding out that there's so many people have issues with gene mutations where the body cannot make your own glutathione. And it's a small subset of patients that they're having these issues, and it's over time, and it's the epigenetic. It's you may have the genes for it, but it's not expressing the genes. So over time, the conditions could be right, and now, boom, you have this problem. You can go for 40, 50 years without having any issues, and all of a sudden you have this problem. Now the body cannot make glutathione. And so at that point, you're at the mercy of somebody giving you the glutathione straight up. The body can use it up. And if it's not available, I don't know if you have heard people like really go down and say, "Oh my God, she was so vibrant 2 years ago. What happened? All of a sudden, she's dead." I'm not saying it's because of glutathione levels are dropping, but I'm saying that those conditions are existing because those gene mutations can happen anytime, expressing themselves. So finding a solution that a body can absorb glutathione that's my research, right? So I say that, okay, fine. I can make a glutathione product today, and we do have a product available today that body can use it up and take it immediately, and it can increase the levels for glutathione for each and every human being on this planet. There's no questions asked about it. The question is that how can I do that naturally? Because if I said earlier that, hey, anybody can make glutathione till to the last breath, then I want to make it first, and then whatever is not, I'm not able to make it, I can take it supplements. What I figured out is that to have enough glutathione in your body, you got to do two things: reduce your expenses or increase your production. The first thing you got to do is reduce expenses. My grandpa used to tell me all the time, if you want to become rich, you have to lower your expenses. You cannot be rich when you're spending all kinds of money. What is the expenses for the glutathione? Exposure to toxic chemicals from the environment. Stop smoking, stop drinking alcohol, stop taking products that your body has to neutralize them, chemicals that you can't even pronounce them. Please don't take them. I know you cannot pronounce glutathione either, but that one is good for you. Just want to let you know. But a lot of chemicals, you can't even pronounce them, but you don't even know what they are. And you can Google them, or you can put them in your favorite search engine and find out what these chemicals are. And this could be some are preservatives, some stabilizers, some are there just to make the food look prettier. There's all kinds of things people use to make it palatable. We don't need any of those things. So just want to be, if you can reduce expenses down, that's step number one. Step two would be to increase your production. And you can take the amino acids, which is the diet, from your diet, which is cysteine. So if you can just put in a favorite search engine, cysteine-rich foods, you can get your list of foods that you can eat. If you can vegan, vegetarians, carnivore, omnivore, paleo, Mediterranean, I don't care what diet plan you follow, you're going to get a list of foods you can eat. The glycine and the glutamine are there in most of the foods you eat. Cysteine are the stinky foods that people don't like to eat all the time. And so if you like some foods in there, make sure that's part of your daily diet and rotate them, right? So if you want to eat cruciferous vegetables, Brussels sprouts, whey proteins, and broccolis, and Brazil nuts, and whatever it takes, whatever the foods are there, that has to be a part of the daily diet. If you do that part, and if you stay away from the toxins, there's a very good chance that you may not need to replace gluten until you're 30, 35, maybe 40. That's a good sign. But after the age of 40, unfortunately, you are going to need some supplementation because we have not found any human beings that they have optimum glutathione levels after the age of 40. Then the supplementation comes in, and there's thousands of supplements out there. None of them actually get absorbed in the systems. They all work because the body breaks it down, absorbs the cysteine, and uses the cysteine to make its own glutathione. So they all kind of work a little bit. But if you're guaranteed that my levels are going to go up no matter what, every single time I take it, then we had to create that molecule for you in some technology, and it's a topical solution that you rub it on your skin, and it gets you into your system. I tried to make it an oral liquid that you can just drop it in, but it was not working. I put a nasal spray, that was not working. And so the only route left for me was to put to the skin, because skin doesn't have the enzymes to break it down. So it was getting through the skin much, much better for us. I hope that answers your questions about stopping the exposure to toxic chemicals, eating the right foods, and then after that, only take the supplementations after the age. Or if you have an issue that if you start drinking early and you can't stop drinking, then yes, you need glutathione right now.
This is really interesting. And I'm thinking of probably a lot of our listeners who are around 40 or over 40 and have maybe never heard of this before. So it's an easy way to do it. If you're saying a topical treatment, that's pretty simple for everyone to do that. We don't need to even ingest anything or inject ourselves with anything in that sense. That sounds like a pretty straightforward thing that we can do. Now, are there any risks to having these topical treatments? It's something the body naturally produces, but often in different kind of supplements or things added to it, then all of a sudden make it not so good for us anymore. So how's the topical treatment? Is that safe for pretty much everybody to use on their skin?
That's an excellent question, because that's what I would have thought too, right? Because FDA has deemed glutathione as a GRAS product, which is generally regarded as safe. We can use it for pregnant ladies, we can use it for infants, we can use it for anybody and everybody on this planet. And so I thought it was going to be okay. So I discovered this molecule in 2007. And very first month I was using this product on some of my patients, I started seeing some reactions as I couldn't figure it out. And so I stopped selling the product. I went on a 14 years mission to figure out everything and then re-release the product back in 2021. So in 14 years, I had to find out how much can I give you? How often can I give you? Am I going to get results? What results am I going to get? Can I take this indefinitely? If I get the results, how fast do I get the results? Does the results keep on improving over time? Or is it just a one and done kind of a deal? I had so many questions, so many different things that came into my mind, and I had no answers because the technology never existed in the whole world. So we do have worldwide patents on it. At this point, the very first thing I figured out was the dose required is very small. The question you asked me, I said, hey, can I take it as much as I want? The answer is no. You cannot take as much as you want, because the thing is, and you're not alone in this, all my high-end clientele are in the same boat, right? If little is good for you, more is better. And the answer is, when it comes to medicine, when it comes to human physiology, it's not the more or the less, it's the right amount. Identifying the right amount is so critical. Once you identify what the right amount is, the results keeps on coming after day, month after month, year after year. And so when we figured out the magic formula they were just absolutely, I was in shock, because my patients, they were so happy because I now identify what does that look like. And the dose was roughly about 4 sprays of my glutaril that we created, which is only like 100 milligrams. And some of my doctors tell me, I inject 2 to 5 grams of my Parkinson's patients. I said, Dr. Perlmutter, it's okay. You can use a lower concentration product and still get the same results. And he goes, no, they cannot comprehend that part. They cannot comprehend that part. It was hard for them to identify, because they've been doing the same treatment for 30 plus years, getting the results. And now this new kid's coming to them, oh no, don't give them 5,000 milligrams, just give them 100 milligrams. What? It didn't comprehend. So it took them a while to figure that portion out. So that's why I had to do all my clinical trials. I had to do some human trials, try to figure out exactly what it's done. Once it was done and approved, in the whole process of writing my book, The Glutathione Revolution, because the product was not ready yet. I was just doing my human trials. And so if you pick up a book and read the book, it's all about stories about patients coming to me and sharing their successes. And it's such an enlightening book for me to write because it gives you hope. It gives you hope to anybody who has struggled with some issues that I have no doctors have ever figured out what's wrong with me. I said the best doctor in the world is your human body. Let's take the trash out, free up the human body to do the right thing. If mom runs the whole house, but if the mom's too busy cleaning the house, doing the laundry, cleaning, mopping the floors, and all those things, and how is it going to pay attention to the kids and their needs, right? It cannot. And no wonder the kids are not doing good at school, or if they're doing good at school, then now mom is literally trash because by the time they go to sleep, there's no energy left in their mom. What if I take all the mundane work out of from her? I take the trash out, do the laundry, mop the floors, do all those things for her. Now she can spend all the time in the world with the kids. The kids are going to be happy and they're going to get a better result. Same thing with the human body. If I take the trash out, take all the conjugation pathways in my liver is all activated and get the clean body from inside, the body goes, oh my God, I'm free to do all kinds of things now. I can go find the problem that you've been suffering for all this time. So that's what glutathione allows you to do. The glutathione is not this magic portion that cures all the problems. God, no, it's not that thing. But what it does is it unleashes your human potential to do that work for you, which is much more powerful than the product itself. And so that's what the glutathione is to me, is this magic portion in the background, just doing its job. And by doing it, it's really unleashing the human potential to do the rest.
That sounds so powerful. And I love how you're explaining that. But yeah, of course, it all starts with the basics of how we are detoxifying, how our body is working, and all builds from there. So sounds like a very powerful discovery that you've made in your research, in your trials as well. And can you maybe share with us, before we wrap up, just maybe a couple of the things that you really come across the most that your patients tell you have changed for them after actually supplementing with glutathione? I feel that when we're saying, okay, this is maybe the underlying cause for all of these diseases, we might not be aware that we're preventing something in the body because there's no physical sign of that. We're maybe preventing cancer, we're preventing high blood pressure or diabetes, but we don't really know that. But are there any things that you have come across with your patients where they actually say, oh, this changed for me, I actually noticed that, or this changed for me physically or mentally? Have you come across anything?
Oh my God, every day. Every hour sometimes. I was, as I mentioned to you earlier before the recording, is that I was at an event for 4 days and I literally met probably close to anywhere from 800 to 1,000 physicians in 4 days. And the only thing that they keep on coming telling me about gratitude is thank you, because it has changed people's lives. And it's not like they're standing and chit-chatting with me all day long. They're just walking by and say, hey, Dr. Patel, thank you so much for what you do. Appreciate it. We're so grateful. They just keep on walking. And I have no idea how I have changed their lives unless somebody shares with me. But I'm so busy talking about it all the time that people think that I know every single thing that this product does. And honestly, I don't. I really don't, right? So the few things that the people do notice right away, and again, these are people that have already been 35, 40 and above, because the things are not in their favor. So some people notice that they have improved their sleep patterns. Now, the number one oxidation in your body is in your brain. 20% of all the oxygen that you breathe in goes into your brain first. So the highest amount of oxidative stress is in your brain. So if I can neutralize those free radicals in your brain, you sleep better, right? That's like a no-brainer. In some people, they get excited, but there are very few of those people. They get super excited. They cannot sleep. But majority of the people are feeling better and they're sleeping better. Glutathione, when you give it in this form, but the body can use it up, the body doesn't have to make any more glutathione. If it doesn't have to make glutathione, guess what it does? It spares the ATP energy, which is the energy, and the NAD molecule for electron transfer. Now, ATP, the energy, you can use it anywhere. You can use it anywhere. So usually in the first 2-3 weeks, people say, I just have increased in energy and I don't know what it is. It's not a caffeine energy. It's not coffee. I just feel good. After 4 days of conference, standing on my feet for almost 10 hours every single day, on the last day, I was talking to a doctor and we just chit-chatted, and she comes to me and said, hey, you know what? I'm so drained over here. I said, you know what? I've been standing here for 4 days in a row. And I started jumping up and down on the fourth day in the evening, the last day, right? I said, I got plenty of energy. And the thing is, you can have it too. It's just that we're doing way too much than the body needs to us to do. So those are the two most important things that people can feel it. But most of the doctors, what they're really measuring is all the changes in the liver health, the kidney health, the heart health, the gallbladders, the spleens, the lungs capacity. I have a lot of athletes using it to just improve the lung capacity so they can run better, faster. Most of my athletes, they're younger people. Most of my athletes, they're professional athletes, they're in the 20s. Now, they don't use it every single day, but they do use it every day, workout, because their workout regimen is like 3 to 4 hours, intense amount of workout. And those athletes, when they work out that hard, it tears the muscles, tears the body apart, and the body will regroup it again by next morning. But as you get older, it regroups after 2 days and 3 days and so forth, right? And so the athletes know that, hey, this is not going to last forever. So by using glutathione, they can regroup within hours. And so they can become fierce athlete all the time because they can work out every single day and see the benefits of it, right? Versus if I work out, I'm gone for 2, 3 days. And if I never work out, I'll probably gone for 2, 3 weeks. Sometimes, oh my God, so painful. And so, anyways, so the multiple uses for those things, again, glutathione doesn't have a primary function because the primary function, as we know, is just antioxidants. And you can measure those levels of oxidative stress in your body and just see the drop, level just drops in the first 4 hours. So yes, it's done that part, but the detoxification, the conjugation, it's very hard to measure those on urine tests because the urine has to be measured, but for all the metabolites in your liver. And so that, again, those are multiple ways to look at it. But if you read the book, you can hear some of the stories that I have. I had patients about autistic moms telling me that my daughter hasn't slept for 7 years. And after using for 2 weeks, she started sleeping for the first time. I had one daughter that in 4 years was an autistic kid, and she was always humming by herself and just in the corner and just doing her own mind. And after 7 days later, she started singing loudly in the house. And you can see the mom and the dad just beam out of joy, right? And so those are easy ones to spot out because those that they use the product, they see the results immediately. But 35 and 40-year-old, they're not going to see the results right away. But what they're going to see is progress in their life. And a lot of people say that, hey, I'll use it for 3 or 4 months and say, hey, stop it after 3 months or 6 months. Use it for 3 or 6 months continuously and then stop it. That's when they realize, oh my God, this is what I was feeling like. It is gone. People forget the good days and the bad days. So I want you people to experience that part. I can tell you one story about my father, and that can hit the home for everybody today. And so before we end, I want to share the story with you. My father, at the age of 78, had a small chest pain, not an infarction, but it was enough. He was shortness of breath. So we did an angio. We scheduled the angiograph for him, and then that father said, oh my God, his main artery was completely blocked, 100% blocked. The doctor says, I can't believe you had to schedule this thing. You'd have been dead by now. So they put one stent in there, just one stent. They say, hey, you put the stent in there, but you have to come every 6 months for EKG checkup, making sure everything is okay. But yada. Gave a whole bunch of medications from the hospitals. And my dad comes to me and said, Dad, do I take this product? I said, no. You didn't have cholesterol issues, so why did he give you cholesterol pills? You don't have any other issues. He had to take blood thinners because the stent is a metal piece. I don't want to get clogged up. Took a blood thinner for 3 months, but besides that, there was no other medication. He was already 78 years of age, and at the age of 55 and 60, I was doing his hormone replacement therapy, giving him just some testosterone and just make him some energy in him. Yeah, it was okay. He was having diabetes, he was having arthritis, so I thought I'll help him with some hormones, but nothing helped him, right? 78, he got an infarction, right? Stent put in there. At about that time, I had the glutathione already discovered. Was 2 years into my research. So he became a patient number one that was going to go on to take it forever now. He started using the product. 2 years later, I found out that he was actually free of diabetes. I didn't put two and two together yet because I was still in my research. I had no idea what was happening. So his sugar was under control. He was still not taking any medications, just one metformin, his only pill he took. And with that, his sugar A1C was controlled under 5.7. Actually, it was 5.4, which is very good. I said, oh my God, this is amazing. I said, I don't know what you're doing, but keep up with the diet. That's what I thought, was keep up with the diet. And they said, make sure you walk every day. I know, because you have arthritis, so make sure you walk a little bit. And he was actually started to walk, increasing his walk time. He's up to now 6 miles per day walking with arthritis, right? And no pain. He goes, wait a second, this is something different. What's going on? Anyway, I'm a good son, so I didn't pay attention to my dad. Like every good son does. I didn't keep up with his progress. I go by, and then he started making sure that, hey, anywhere I go, everywhere you go on a family vacations, make sure you take with me. He was traveling the world. Went to India every single year. He went to Africa. He went to Australia, New Zealand, and walked the glacier mountains. He went to Hawaii for 10 days. He went to Costa Rica with us for 10 days and he didn't do the whitewater rafting, but he did a lot of other things. All these things that were happening. Come at 84, 85, he said that my knees are not doing good because my chiropractors tell me that my hip is out of alignment because my knees are buckling from arthritis for 40 plus years. So I said, can I get the knee replacement surgery? I said, Dad, you're 84. I said, let me take it to the doctor. The doctor said, yeah, we can do the knee replacement. I can't believe you have no pain because this is completely deformed for all these years of arthritis. So my dad convinced him to do double knee replacement at the same time at the age of 85 now. 85 years old, double knee replacement, came out of the hospital in a day and a half, walked out of the hospitals, came home. 30 days later, he was walking one block. It's this tiny block inside the neighborhood, nothing crazy. He had a physical therapist come once a week. But in 3.5 months, at the age of 85, he was completely healed and started traveling again. And the doctor says he has never seen this before, ever, because normally it took them 6 months for recovery. In 3.5 months, he was already traveling to India. It was absolutely crazy, right? And then every year we went for EKG. After the third year, the doctor says, don't come back for 5 more years now. I can't believe this. There's no changes in you. And I don't know what you're doing, but he didn't say anything to anyone because I did not know that glutathione will have such a profound impact in his life, right? I had no idea. And so that's the only thing it took, right? Now he's 88 years of age and he's still traveling in India. And he's getting now very cocky. And I said, I can do anything I want. I'm like a young kid now. I can do anything I want. And he started eating street foods. And I said, Dad, don't eat street foods, especially in India. I get some diarrhea. And sure enough, he got diarrhea. I said, oh, shit. See, okay, I'll stop it right now. But the diarrhea did not stop for 3 days. It did not stop. I said, Dad, just make sure to get yourself well hydrated. I said, yeah, I drink enough water. I said, I'll get some of those electrolyte packets local from the chemist and get this going. Yeah, I'll be fine. Next morning, he fell down in the shower. He broke his skull, right? He broke his skull. I said, oh, shoot. But the thing is, after that, he had no loss of memory. He had no loss of consciousness. He had the wits to call the ambulance to come pick him up. And this is in India, so there's no 911 over there. But he had the wits of calling everything. He went to the hospital, did all those things. And I said, oh, I got so scared, right? So I called my doctor friend at the NFL. I said, hey, my dad just fell down and he broke his skull and is bleeding. I said, oh, is he coherent? Is he talking to you? Is he conscious? Is he everything? Oh, don't do any surgery. Okay. Which hospital in India? I had no idea he was the president of the Neurosurgeon Society of the world. In 2 hours, there was a neurosurgeon visiting my dad in India. In 2 hours. And he goes, yep, your dad had some internal bleeding going on. It seems like there's no damage to his brain whatsoever. I said, this is absolutely shocking to him. I showed him some x-rays too. MRIs. I said, oh my God, I can't believe what's happening. But anyways, there's bleeding going on. If the bleeding stops over the next 2 or 3 days, then he should be okay. He should be able to travel in 10 days. Now he's 89 years of age. And my dad listens to him. I said, see, I told you, I'll be fine. I said, Dad, stop doing crazy things. One of my brothers is going to come pick you up in India. I said, no, just wait. Don't worry about it. And he started making phone calls again to his brothers and sisters and everybody else. And as it's getting too late, goes to sleep and never wakes up again. That was his last day on this planet. He was 89. At 78, he was barely surviving. At the age of 78 to 89, he lived his whole life, 13 overseas trips, 10 vacation spots. He did things that you do in your 30s and 40s. He was doing it in his 80s. And when I look back, the only change I made in him, was glutathione. And what a dumb son I am. I didn't even recognize how much change was happening in his life. it wasn't until I released the product in 2021. He just passed away last year. But when I released the product in 2021, I was so much into my education and telling my doctors and all the benefits on how it works and the science behind it that I never kept up with the progress of my own father. And then by the time I realized this, which was about 2-3 years ago, and I realized that I said, Dad, this is what it's working for you. So he never left home without the glutathione bottles ever. And so that's what I'm trying to tell your listeners. And your listeners could be younger, but if they may have parents in the 80s and 90s right now, trust me, the human body has the potential to self-heal itself. We get it in our own ways. So let's get out of the way. Eat the right foods, drink the right water. Don't do any crazy things. Our body was not designed to have cheat days. So please don't cheat on your diet. Please. And if you can do that part, I don't care what age you are, with the help of glutathione and remove the antioxidants, oxidation stress, and the deconjugation pathways, it will unleash the human potential to start healing itself. And I want you to experience that one day.
Such a powerful story. And thank you for sharing that. And I'm very sorry that your father passed away, but also very glad that you got to have all of these experiences that shaped his life in the last decade. Wow, wonderful. And I feel
he's not dead yet. If you think about it, he's not gone because the memory's still here because he didn't even suffer one day. He didn't even suffer. That's the way I want to go. When my time is up, just pick me up because I'm done. Make me suffer for 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. No disease and things that we have to struggle through and fall asleep. And then that's it. We've had our experience. Yeah. And we're talking about him. So of course, we're keeping that alive for him as well, his memory and his experiences. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I do feel that we all have parents or siblings or even neighbors, friends, colleagues that can benefit from this that are probably over 40. Of course, for myself as well, I'm over 40, so I'm in that bracket.
Nowadays, it's 30 and above is everybody else because 40 is the people that are really having a clean diet, which are very rare to see. My own house, I have 3 kids, and yes, they're going to need me by the time they're 30. Because they're not very clean.
Yeah, that's the reality of it, right? The time and everything that's going on. We try, but there's things that happen. Yeah, so thank you for sharing that. And share with our listeners, just before we sign off, also about what's the title of your book? Just let them know again. You mentioned it before. And where can our listeners find your products? Are these available internationally, or how can they find your products?
The book is The Glutathione Revolution. And you can find everywhere that product. That book is everywhere. The Audibles, the Kindles, and hardcover books, and all kinds of things. We only have one website, which is Auro Wellness, AURO wellness.com. And it's just surprisingly, Auro is a place in India, the Aurobindo Ashram. That's where my dad was when he passed away. And the name has been in our family for generations. So we've been very blessed to have that. But anyway, so oralwellness.com. We do ship to some countries out of mostly United States, but we do ship into some countries as well. In Europe, we have a couple of countries in Europe. Australia, New Zealand is not an issue for us. Some countries in Asia, but Asia is a very difficult market. South America is similar. And Middle East, we do have some customers in Middle East as well. So we do ship across the globe a little bit, but it's just hit and miss.
Yeah, thank you for that. And of course, we will be linking to all of these offerings in the show notes as well. We'll link to the book and the product. So if you're in some of the countries where they can ship to, all the US and probably Canada is fairly straightforward as well. So yeah, what do we really have to lose by trying this? Nothing. We just maybe gain more of our health and vitality back and our life back. So I feel these are simple things that we can add to our lives that are easy to use and have such a powerful and empowering impact as we grow older. And growing older healthier, much more desirable than growing older sicker. That's what nobody wants. So
nobody wants that.
Sounds like that is exactly what we need. So thank you so much. And I'm grateful again that you have taken the time to come back a second time and share this with us, because I feel this has been such an impactful topic to speak about and let our listeners know about. Thank you so much for being here again and taking the time to share that.
Thank you for having me here again.
Absolutely. It was my absolute pleasure. My heart is full. I feel so blessed that you've been here again. So thank you for your time, and can't wait to air this and have all of our listeners know about this, learn about this, and add this to their own lives. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and take care of yourselves and be well. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen in. If you enjoy the Jōrni Podcast, please support us by subscribing, sharing on social media, and leaving us a review. We appreciate you. And you can find more of The Jōrni on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and our website, thejorni.com. Sending you love and courage, and see you next time.